The CEO's house party was meant to be a celebration. I had poured months of effort into closing a major deal, and receiving an invitation to my boss's mansion felt like acknowledgement of my hard work. My wife, Sarah, looked breathtaking in her navy dress, her smile illuminating the room as we entered. The chandeliers glittered, glasses clinked, and laughter buzzed around us. I felt proud having her by my side. As the evening progressed, the CEO introduced me to some of his most influential clients. One of them was Mr. Carl, a wealthy man with a formidable presence. Known for his arrogance, people often excuse his behavior because of his fortune. He studied me with a cold, appraising look before letting his gaze linger on Sarah far longer than it should, making me uneasy. We all formed a circle, exchanging polite conversation, when suddenly Carl smirked and pointed directly at Sarah. His voice carried across the room. "She's coming with me." The laughter around us faltered. The arrogance in his tone hit me like a physical blow. I glanced at Sarah. Her stunned expression mirrored my own. The insult wasn't just directed at her. It was aimed at humiliating me in front of my peers, my boss, and everyone who mattered in my career. My fists clenched, but I forced myself to remain calm. This was not a place for physical confrontation. The CEO tried to ease the tension with an awkward laugh. "Carl was joking," he said, but Carl's smirk betrayed the truth. His words were no joke. They were a power play. I swallowed my anger and guided Sarah away. But a storm was already brewing inside me. That night, sleep eluded me. Carl's gesture haunted my thoughts. The humiliation in front of everyone, the whispers, the sideways glances, the uncomfortable silence gnawed at me. I knew I couldn't let it pass. Respect, once lost, is difficult to regain. I needed a plan, not just to defend my dignity, but to make Carl pay for his arrogance. The next morning, Sarah sat beside me, still shaken. "You can't just let this go," she said. Her words confirmed what I already felt. I promised I wouldn't. But instead of reacting with anger, I chose strategy. Carl may have had wealth, but he wasn't untouchable. I held leverage he didn't realize. That deal I had worked on gave me influence over something he relied on. Over the next week, I quietly collected information. I discovered that Carl's business depended heavily on the very project I had brought to fruition. Without my involvement, his entry into the CEO's inner circle would crumble. He thought he could insult me without repercussions, but I was the man behind the numbers he needed. The opportunity presented itself at a follow-up meeting. Everyone was seated, Carl looking as smug as ever. When the CEO requested updates, I calmly presented my findings, highlighting a critical flaw, one only I could fix, a flaw that, if ignored, would cost Carl millions. The room fell silent. I turned toward him. Respect is a foundation of trust. Without it, no deal stands. The color drained from his face. He understood the message. The CEO frowned, realizing Carl's arrogance had crossed a line. The conversation shifted, but Carl's reputation had already taken a hit. No one in the room missed the link between his insult at the party and the professional setback I had just delivered. Later that evening, Carl approached me privately. His smugness was gone, replaced by desperation. He muttered an apology that sounded more like begging than sincerity. I said nothing. Some things don't deserve words. I simply walked away, leaving him frozen in place. When I returned home, Sarah looked at me expectantly. I told her everything, and relief washed over her face. For her, it wasn't about revenge. It was about knowing I stood up for her, for us. She took my hand, whispering, "That's the man I married." From that day on, Carl avoided me. His arrogance diminished, his influence waned. Meanwhile, my standing in the company grew stronger. The CEO respected the way I handled the situation, calmly, strategically, without violence. I learned an important truth. Sometimes, the most effective revenge isn't loud or forceful. It's quietly removing the power of those who try to belittle you. And every time I recall that night, I remember the look in Carl's eyes when he realized money couldn't buy everything. Not dignity, not respect, and certainly not my wife.